Coercive control was a term that was developed by Evan Stark to help people to understand that domestic abuse is so much more than just normal fighting. It's so much more than just violence. Rather, it's a pattern of behavior that the abuser uses with the motive of taking away the victim's freedom, their liberty, to strip away their sense of self, and to even eliminate and take away their human rights. Now that sounds really powerful, that someone tries to take away your human rights. What exactly does that mean in a relationship? Think about it. Everyone has the right to have their own perspective, right? Even if there's a different perspective, even if your perspective is wrong, it's still your perspective and you're allowed to have it. Everyone is allowed to have their own thoughts, right? We're not robots programmed to think exactly the way somebody else says, unless we're in a relationship with a narcissist who is coercively abusing us. We have the right to our feelings. We have the right to our passions and to engage in the things that we love. Well, if you are in a relationship with a toxic person that is using coercive control over you, they are systematically destroying all of those pieces of yourself. And we can know that this is true because all we have to do is think about if you were in a relationship with somebody like that, and if you're watching my videos, you probably were, think about what you felt like afterwards, right? Didn't you feel like you didn't even recognize yourself after the relationship? Because the core person that you were, your identity, your rights to be an individual, your right to be an autonomous individual were stolen by somebody that was engaging in coercive control. So it is serious. Coercive control is kind of like carbon monoxide. You don't see it, you don't smell it, but the effects of it are deadly. With coercive control, if we don't understand what to look for, it can be so subtle. And yet the effects of it are deadly because maybe we're physically alive, but we are emotionally dead and erased to be whatever that other person wanted us to be. So it's definitely serious. So to keep us safe in our homes in the US, we have to have our carbon monoxide reader, right? Make sure that it's at healthy levels. Well, I'm going to give you guys 10 things to look for so that you can determine how toxic your relationship is and if you are undergoing coercive abuse. Here are some things to look for. Number one is you lose the ability to have choices. You no longer do things because you choose. It's more like you're driven out of a fear of what's going to happen or the anger that you're going to be met with if you don't do something. So without choices, life is lived as if you're walking on eggshells. You're not like making active choices in your life as to what makes you feel good. All of your choices are, what do I need to do so that so-and-so isn't angry? That's coercive control. Number two, if they don't directly call you names in the sense that it's obvious verbal abuse, right? Because sometimes they'll do that, but if they are more covert, they'll learn to say things in such a way that they are putting you down as a way of helping you be a better person. They will let you know how awful you do everything, but it's to help you to be a better person. However, they're never able to see any good in you, so you're constantly fed things that are so negative that it starts to crumble your self-esteem. If you point out to them what they're doing, they'll say that you're crazy. That of course they tell you positive things. I mean, you can't remember any of them, but that's because you're just crazy and you just like to look at the negative. They'll twist it like that so that it's very confusing for you to realize exactly what's going on. Number three is they monitor everything you do, your phone calls, your emails, everything private. Of course, everything that's theirs always remains private because there's always like some kind of double standard. But they monitor you and they accuse you of things that you didn't do. I know in one situation, one woman who was in a relationship with a narcissist would just talk to her family members and she would have to delete that she spoke to any healthy family member or friend. She was allowed to talk to anyone toxic or anyone that was a flying monkey of the narcissist in her life, But anyone healthy, she would have to delete it because she would be accused of doing something that made no sense. Number 4 is they become angry if you don't give in to everything they want. So anger becomes a means of control. If they want you to go someplace and you don't really feel comfortable or you don't want to go, they will get angry, they will give you the silent treatment so that you are conditioned little by little to never say no, because you don't ever want to face those detrimental consequences of living in silence as if you are dead with somebody. They use their anger to make sure that they get their way. Number 5 is they find ways to let you know that no matter how much you do, they are here and you are here, and they are more important than you, and everything you do is basically insignificant, or it's never enough. I know of some situations where the victim of this kind of course of control was literally doing everything. And yet, because she was constantly made to feel like it wasn't enough, she was doing more and more and wasn't even pausing long enough to realize that the more she did, the less he did. That's another form of coercive control. They gossip about you and share your secrets and or insecurities with others. Maybe they'll say they were joking if it hurts your feelings, but they will talk bad about you in a way that is very covert. So, for example, if you got into a fight, right, before a gathering with friends or a party or whatnot, you get into this fight because they are attacking you, they're criticizing you, they are making you feel like you're not enough. So you get upset and you react, and they get calm and they're like, what's wrong with you? You have such a problem. You get to the party, you're still, flustered because of the argument or what happened, and they're just like, nothing happened. Well, you can be sure at that party they will be pointing out your strange behavior, your uncomfortableness in a way that smears you and raises them. They'll say something like, so-and-so used to really love to be around people, but I don't know what's wrong with her. Now every time we go out, it's like she has some kind of problem, but, I'm going to help her. I'm going to be there. I'm going to make sure she's okay. So they're like causing your uncomfortableness. They're pointing it out to others as if you have a problem and painting themselves as your savior, all in the same sentence. That is definitely coercive abuse. They puff up their accomplishments and devalue yours. And again, this could be you are the breadwinner. Let's say in this case, the woman is the toxic person and the man is doing everything. And the woman is just, living her life, doing everything she wants to do, not contributing to helping the family in any way, whether it's economically, whether it's with her time, whether it's with any kind of assistance with the children. The man is doing everything, and yet she makes him feel as if nothing he does is ever enough, and the little things she does will be highlighted and just really puffed up as if that is the most important thing. And to say otherwise would make you just a really bad and unappreciative person. Another subtle form is the fact that they claim to know what's best for you and pressure you to let them make all of your decisions. You may come to a completely different decision than they want, but they know what's best for you, and no one loves you more than they love you, and they will make you think that it's because it's for your own best interest that they're doing this. But what you don't realize is that the longer you're allowing this to go on, your life is becoming more and more and more chaotic, and you don't understand why, because all of these decisions are made with your best interest. So what's going on? The fact is that they are not made from your best interest. You're being coercively controlled. Another sign to look for is if they get angry if you give them feedback, constructive, negative feedback, where let's say they say something that really hurts your feelings. So you're just letting them know, hey, when you talk to me like that, that really hurts. They get extremely angry. They're not willing to allow you to give any feedback. And the funny thing is, it happens with teasing as well. So the toxic person can tease you and kind of make you the butt end of the joke, but woe is you or woe is me if we were to tease the toxic person. that is always met with anger as well. Because their core is made up of so much pathological shame, they can never apologize. They can never self-reflect and actually see that they did something that was not perfect. It's like their mind won't allow them to see that. Which kind of leads me to the next one, where they can never lose an argument and they can never let you have the last word. So truthfully, there is no losing and winning in an argument in a healthy relationship. It's about really finding a way to work together towards what both people need. But with the toxic person, there's this sense of winning and losing. And you are always losing. You never feel like you walk out of an argument as if you really resolved the problem. There is no real reconciliation. There is zero ability to compromise and zero ability to see your perspective. They're only capable of seeing life through their own perspective. You must share their same perspective, because they will pound and repeat and go into monologue after monologue until you finally agree with their perspective, just to get them to stop. And the last point that I want to make that you would want to look for is if they withhold, whether it's sex, whether it's money, or whether it's conversation. If they punish you by withholding, and I say punish in the sense that they're punishing you for having a different perspective, or for not liking, the way that they're handling something, for not being 100% behind everything they say, think, and do as if they are flawless, right? If you are not able to do that and they punish you with the silent treatment and they punish you in those other ways, that is a form of coercive control. So those are about 9 or 10 different things that you can look for. Obviously, the more things on the list, the higher your emotional carbon monoxide reader is. If you're in a situation where you can say yes to almost every single one of those things, you are in a very toxic relationship that has the ability to not only hurt you emotionally, but it has the ability to erase you, change you into something you're not, so that afterward you don't even know who you are. So be aware of this. Hopefully this information can help you to gauge your relationship. And the stronger you build yourself up inside, the better decisions you will make regarding whatever you have to do, however you have to handle the situation. So I always encourage people, don't listen to this information and then act rashly or act impulsively. Rather, begin building yourself up from the inside so that your head is clear. And when it's time to make decisions, you'll be making them from a better place.